You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the growth that we would like to see from head coach Billy Donovan heading into next season. We're also going to talk about which young player we would like to see take that next step and do a little hyping for Bulls Fest. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. But Pat, with all that said, let's get started here ourselves. Billy Donovan, we've talked a lot about things and growth that we want to see from players, the big three together, the young players, but ultimately, like, it really a big portion of that puzzle has to be the coaching as well. How do you want to see Billy Donovan grow as a coach heading into next season?
I would like to see him be able to adjust on the fly. I just don't think that he does a good enough job at it. I mean, realistically, it's the only gripe I have on Billy Donovan. I do think Billy Donovan comes out with a good game plan. I think he comes out, for the most part, usually with pretty good rotations. The problem usually comes in for me with Billy Donovan is when the game doesn't go the way that your planned it, I feel like he doesn't adjust well enough to counter back to what other coaches are doing. We see him do it in spurt. He's very much like his team, right? Like, there's certain times where we do see him do it. And we're just like, wow.
It's always random, too.
Yeah, it's like, wow, That was a really nice adjustment that he made there in the second half. Like, very interesting to see him do that. I'm very glad that he did that. But we don't see it enough. And I think that a lot of times it's the downfall. Now, granted, right, you also have to go with what the players are doing, how the players are playing. Even if you're going to go to a different lineup or a different look on the court, it also goes into what kind of chemistry those guys have together, how many minutes those guys have logged together. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, well, you should have put DJJ in that situation. But, I mean, realistically, Andre Drummond should have been out there at the end of the game, right? We all know that. It's okay. I think even Billy Donovan at this point would tell you Andre Drummond should have been out there at the end of the game. The only thing I need to see him improve upon is how he adjusts in the game. Outside of that, I think Billy's every coach in the NBA. Like, I don't think that he's like this lower tier that people want to put him at. He's not at the bottom. He's a good coach that has okay players, and that's the result that we get out of it at the end of the day. He's never going to probably be Greg Popovich. If all of a sudden he makes that change to being Greg Popovich, I mean, we probably found our Tim Duncan, and that would be nice to have found. You know what I mean? Like, I think that goes into it as well a lot. You need star to superstar talent to look like that.
I would like to see him use players to their strengths a little bit better. I'd like to see him have those better rotations at times and the adjustments specifically defensively down the stretch of games for sure. But I think the biggest thing is him utilizing players better to their strength. Zach LaVine is one of the best catch and shoot players in all of the NBA. And we just don't see very much. Like, Patrick Williams scored more off catch and shoots than Zach LaVine did. That's a problem. It's probably a bit of an exaggeration too, but like, it's just a problem. Like, and then the second halves of games just not going to Vooch, and games where Vooch was cooking the first half. Those type of things is where I want to see Billy Donovan tighten up considerably, hopefully next year.
But see, I feel like right at the same time, that's just the kind of coach he is. He lets the players dictate the game. And that's not the kind of coach that people want to see. But that's probably more so the kind of coach that is around the modern NBA. Like, I'd say Pop, Spo,
Malone.
Nah, because I think Jokic is good enough to allow the players to dictate the game. Like, that's the kind of player you need to let the players
but they
dictate
still
the game.
adjust defensively. They adjust defensively. They will do some things different
They'll adjust
defensively.
defensively. I'll give you that. But I think Malone is more of a defensive minded coach at times too.
I mean, that's fine. I don't care what minded you are, but you still need to make defensive adjustments.
Yeah, but I just think that there's still going to be your strengths and weaknesses, right? If it's Tom Thibodeau, we're not talking about defensive adjustments. We're talking about maybe don't run the guys into the ground versus Billy Donovan, who were like, oh, nice offensive draw up there, and we didn't have a 3-point shooter to knock that down, so that sucks. Hey, why is everybody open on the other side? You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's just like we have a more offensive side of the ball coach. I agree. I would like him to do better on the defensive side, but to me, that goes more so to building the staff.
That I was just about to say that. Then it's still on the head coach, because if you don't know how to do that, if that's not your strength, then you need somebody on your staff on the end of that bench that you can then trust. Because that's what Doc Rivers did. Like, people forget, like, when they won that title, Tom Thibodeau was basically the defensive coordinator of that team. Like, Doc didn't have to worry about the defense. Tibbs was drawing up that defense. So, yeah.
No, I agree. I just think that, right, like, even with all of that, still helps if you have a Kevin Garnett, a Paul Pierce, and a Ray Allen. You know what I mean? Like, that's.
I mean, yeah, but we've seen, like, you look at having a coach like Steve Nash and then how that team played so much better when Jacques Vaughn took over, and the roster stayed pretty much the same. Like, coaching does matter. And I think that, yeah, it does help, of course, when you have superstar talent, but like when you don't, you still have to come up with a way and a scheme to kind of better utilize. I think that's my biggest gripe on Billy Donovan, is just like, we don't use players to their best strengths more times than not. If they're not Zach, Vooch, and DeMar, and even then sometimes we don't as well. It's just like, just do that part better. Just do that part better. Yeah, we don't have the superstar talent and stuff like that. I completely agree with you there, but like, all right, then double down more. Like, you find a way to use them to their strengths a little bit more.
I don't disagree with you there. I just think that, right, even with what we saw last season, right, like Ayo Dosunmu was supposed to be a big part of that.
Yeah,
Ayo just looked shell-shocked at times. So it gets to a point where you can't even utilize that guy. Okay, how do I who's the next guy I could put in? Kobe White. Well, I can't expect him to be the defensive leader. I mean, like, I think to me, that's one of the things that did change when you went out and got Pat Bev at a minimum. All of a sudden, there was a defensive leader on the floor. And I hope that does continue with Javon Carter coming in. Even if it's just kind of a facilitating, I'm going to just put y'all in the right spots role on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, I would love to see somebody who's going to do what Patrick Beverley did, where he was like, hey, you need to be playing at this level. Because all of a sudden, right, DeMar DeRozan had no problem playing defense. All of a sudden, Nikola Vucevic has no problem sliding over, although he's not as bad as a defender as people try to sell him as. All of a sudden, right, like, there's all these things that go into it where they're just improved by somebody going, you need to be there. And if you're not there, I'm going to tell you you're not there. So I do agree with that. And I think it's hard because Billy Donovan is never going to be that guy. That's the one thing that won't improve. He's going to let the players dictate what the game does. And you have to have the kind of players that are going to be able to win because of that. He's going to sit there and draw up plays and all that stuff. He's going to do all that stuff. But he's going to let the players dictate how the game
inbound plays. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, we could do a little bit better. I don't hate I'm not
putting that one just on Billy Donovan either. That's a whole organization thing. Everybody gets the blame for that one. Like, how many times did we see down the stretch of games we couldn't inbound the damn ball? Like, that was crazy.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't know how much I can blame Billy on that, because for me, the person I'm irritated at is whoever was always inbounding the ball, throwing it off a foot.
Every time.
Or you throwing it to DeMar DeRozan, like, whipping that mug down.
And then at one time, it wasn't Caruso. Caruso led DeMar way too much, bro. Like,
yeah, I remember
and it was
that
just
one.
like, oh my God. I think initially I blamed DeMar on that one, but looking back, it was like Alex Caruso, bro. I understand you were trying to get it to where the defender couldn't touch it, but you still need to get it to where DeMar can touch it too. Like, it was like, come on, bro. What are we doing here?
I don't know, man. I do put blame on Billy, and I think this is probably the one place where we differ, but I do think that the players need to step up in certain situations better. But I also believe that if we can ever just find that combination that was the first 35 games, like, even then, right? Like, the only person, remember, I think the only two people out of those first, like, when Lonzo was running, that were calling out what the Bulls were still doing wrong was you and Billy Donovan. Like the rest of us are like, here we go, we good. They're like, it's you and Billy Donovan just like, we ain't played defense in 6 games.
Bro, I remember that stretch. I still remember somebody like, I'm confused, Haize. Did we win the game or not? I'm like, and my exact phrase was like, yeah, we won it, but we're not going to keep winning if we keep playing like this.
Hey.
Then we went on a 6-game losing streak. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
I tried to tell y'all.
It got
to tell you.
It got ugly. It got ugly quick.
Yeah, it did get ugly quick. But to talk about no, I'm just playing. We're gonna talk about which young player we would like to see make the next step for the Chicago Bulls. And who we want is like who, and this is not who we think necessarily, it's who we want to see take that next step for the Chicago Bulls. We'll get into all that. Before we do that, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is FanDuel. Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend on betting everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think's going to win, hit the first home run. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on. FanDuel, official sports partner of Major League Baseball. I still don't have anything as good as Glizzy Gladiators, though, bro. Like
I don't know how Matt came up with that, bro. That was crazy. That was crazy. If y'all don't know what we talking about, go rewatch that episode where we did the crossover with Locked On Bulls and CHGO Bulls, because I mean, even Dave wanted to leave, but he was like, they pay me.
Bro, that I think about that every once in a while. I'm just like, where did that come from, bro? That Glizzy Gladiators.
We know where it came from.
There you go. Pat, you presented a great question here before we started recording about which one of the Bulls young players do we want to see take that next step? Who do we think is like it's most important that takes that next step? So I'm gonna turn it over to you first, bro. How you feeling on that?
For me, it's Pat Will. It's I so want. I know that I'm the person that said that Pat Will is a bust, and I still believe that, right? Like, again, I don't want to rehash the whole what the definition of bust is, all that, but I just want him to be good because I can't figure out why he's not. I can't, like, literally, I can't figure out why. Like, he can shoot the 3 ball. He's stronger than probably 8 out of the 10 people on the court. He's actually a fast player in straight line speed. He's one of the best defenders on the floor. He can get to the mid-range whenever he wants. I don't know why he's not good.
It's all mentality, bro. It all has to come down to that mentality. Because, like you said, we've seen it. This dude runs like a gazelle up and down the court, bro.
Man,
like,
threw me off.
Yeah, like he's actually fast, straight up. He's actually a quick player running up and down the court. It's just that lateral quickness where it leaves some things to be desired there. But I kind of agree with you. Like it really does have to be like Patrick Williams hitting that next step drastically changes so many things for the Bulls, right? It brings in a glue guy, it brings in a other force, it brings in a person out of position of need. And if you have that, you now have your starting 5 all solidified and knowing their exact role. The thing right now with P. Will is that you just can't bet on him to do any one thing good every single night other than defend, right? That's it. So
and here's the thing. Yes, on the defensive side, but at a certain point, right? Listen, you're guarding Giannis, you're guarding LeBron, you're guarding Kawhi Leonard, you're guarding, right? Like, you're not gonna stop them. Like on the teams that are the best teams that usually have the forwards and the power forwards who are gonna go at you, you're not gonna stop them. You might stop them every now and then, but on a consistent basis, those guys are gonna get 20 plus. Usually 25 plus. So it's like, yes, I want you to make their lives harder, but I also want you to be able to contribute on the other end. And I don't understand why. Like you said, I get it's the mentality, But even just like you would think he could accidentally get 15 when you see him play. Hey, bro, like, bro, like you see him move, and it's just like, oh yeah, I see why people can't get in front of you. I don't know, man. He reminds me of, this is such an old reference. Nobody's gonna remember this. But there was an episode of Smart Guy, and like Buddy got amnesia or something. Oh no, Taj Mowry character made him nice, and he stopped knocking people over. And all of a sudden, like he was just a terrible basketball player. Like funny. He just like, I just want P. Will to just.
So is P. Will Steve Urkel and we need Stefan? Is that what we're saying right now?
Yeah. Like here's the thing.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? When you think about this, how many players talk about being nice off the court? Smile, good to see you, all of that. And when I'm on the court, I want to rip your throat out.
Yeah.
If P. Will had a inkling of I want to rip your throat out, he would be a 20-10 player. Like easily. Because it's just, if he ever decides I'm gonna just go through you and get to the rim, there's not many people in the NBA that can slow him down. You're talking about literally maybe Kawhi, probably Kawhi. Jimmy.
Well, I don't know. Kawhi got to be healthy first.
Kawhi got to be on the court. Yeah. But Kawhi, Jimmy, and here's the thing. It's the same thing to me, and this is why I see it and why I want him to be successful. It's the same thing to me with Lowry when Lowry first started. Lowry year 2, year 3, I was like, whenever you're aggressive, nobody can stop you. And he would take the little fadeaway joints, and they'll turn around float, and he would just stand in the corner and be like, just be aggressive down there. And all of a sudden, Larry Markkinen goes to Utah. Lo and behold, this man's the most aggressive dude in the league. Now he's averaging 25 plus. I see the same thing here with P. Will. If he ever decided, I actually can just destroy you and you won't be able to stop me. If he got DeMar DeRozan's mindset, what are you working out with him for?
I mean,
listen, what you want? You just want to practice jump shots with your buddy?
Take Nate Robinson's mindset and heart and put it in P. Will, best player in the NBA.
Fam, listen, if he had Denzel Valentine's mindset and heart, he could be the best player in the NBA.
I don't know. Those gums still may physically take him back, bro. I don't know.
The gums are
the aerodynamicness of the gums. I think stops a little bit of that. Just a little bit.
Nobody talks about the fact that the gums were so wind resistant. That's what made him shoot that shot from so far. You couldn't build up enough speed to get to the line. Yeah, I mean.
Oh man, that's funny. But it's just, shout out to Denzel for still getting them checks though.
Hey, he's still making money. He out there hooping. Watch he go out there and be a dog in Australia. Like he just signed a contract in Australia. He gonna go
play with Kai Soto. They gonna run the whole NBL, bro.
I don't know about that. Kai Soto still ain't getting no minutes. Coach over there gonna be like, go sit down, mate.
That's funny, bro.
But no, I guess outside of P. Will, right? And I think that's the player that we both want. If there was a number 2 out of the younger players on this team that you would want to see have
Kobe
success.
White. Yeah. Because Kobe White, with what he showed defensively last year, playmaking wise, dribbling, getting to the rim, if he can get to scoring consistently like he did his second season, you're talking about a perennial 6th man of the year, period. He's going to be in that conversation every single year.
You know what? I would trade Kobe for Dalen. Because
I can feel you where you come from. If you're taking the angle, I think you're taking on that one.
I think if Dalen has success, the energy that he would bring to the court would be so infectious to the rest of the team. The rest of the team would have success with him. I think that Kobe White is a guy who can be a scorer. He can be a great player on a team, and he'll have success, but it'll be, his success that adds to the team. I think that Dalen Terry's success could add to team success. I think that him being good and him being hype, all of a sudden everybody else would be like, well, now we got to win because this guy wants to win.
That's actually a great take, and that brings into something in consideration that's not really tangible. Like you can't always quantify how somebody's energy really does change the expectation, sets that tone for the team overall. I think like it hopefully Dalen can turn into something, because I definitely agree with you, especially that bench unit. Dalen is the type of player that would be able to take your bench unit from being okay to like, oh, these guys coming in with a bunch of edge, because they're taking that mindset from Dalen. So
no, 100%. And that would be the one guy I would want to see outside of P. Will. I think P. Will is our number one, not just because of the 4th overall pick either. Like at this point, it's dead. Like Halliburton's better. It's probably Maxi's better, and they're probably gonna be better. Yeah. But it's just like if P. Will had a little bit of Halliburton mindset, just a little bit, he probably could be better. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah, man. We'll see. We just want to remind you guys before we get into the last topic for today, talking about a Bulls Summerfest. We just want to remind you guys that Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube and the Odyssey app. But Pat, so the Bulls announced today that Nate Robinson, Torrey Craig, Javon Carter, Eddie Curry, wow, and Julian Phillips and Adama Sanago will all make appearances at Bulls Fest August 19th through 20th. You'll be able to meet those guys. What do you think about them going into their bag and pulling out Nate Robinson and Eddie Curry, of all people? Last year it was Ben Gordon who was there as far as one of the historical Bulls, and he had his little legal issues popped up. It was about a month or two after that, but we're not going to talk about that. I thought it was at
the airport when he left. Like that really. Wasn't that when it started? Like, wasn't that when he was like smacking his kid up at the airport or something like that when he was leaving? Come on, Ben. I love how everybody had the same reaction that was black too. We all was just like, well, what'd he do? Oh, no, that's too far. Like,
That's crazy.
No, man. I mean, listen, sounds like, the Bulls will be in full stampede mode. There'll be a lot of galloping and trolloping going on out there. And
trollops?
The trollops. I said trolloping, bro. Trolloping. That's another word.
I know what you said, but I said there are also going to be trollops out there. That's all I said.
There may be some trollops in the building. There may or may not be a trollop or two in the building as well. Eddie Curry is there, so I mean.
Hey, listen, Eddie Curry be on that Dwight Howard stuff, so you got to watch yourself there, my God.
Oh, boy. Wait a minute. But, I'm excited for Bulls Fest, man. I will be out there. Dog, that's going to be so crazy, too, because I want to say Bulls Fest is Friday and Saturday, right? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right?
Just Saturday and Sunday.
Just Saturday and Sunday. So I'll be at Bulls Fest Saturday because Sunday ESPN is doing their football fest. So I also will be going to that as well. Because, employed now, so I get in free. But I'll be going to that as well, showing my face, shaking babies, and kissing hands. So, you got to...
You're going to get that Ben Gordon treatment. You do that a little too much there, bro. Better watch yourself on that one. Watch yourself.
Oh man, it's gonna be a busy weekend for me, man. But I'm excited for it. I think Bulls Fest was a great success last year. Not enough food.
Yeah, like I wish they had more food trucks out there for sure.
They didn't do. They had the empanada. You were like, the empanada's decent, but it wasn't like worth $17 or whatever you paid for it.
Bro, I think it was like $15 for those empanadas.
That was crazy.
They were good, but not that good, bro.
It was like the taco bros were out there. I was like, this ain't like the dude standing next to it. I was like, you're not.
The best thing was the Goose Island beer, bro.
That was the best Island beer was busting, but that's always there, ain't it?
Yeah.
Ain't they? I think they do a sponsorship with the Bulls.
Yeah, they're always there.
So I was like, I don't know, man. Like I want to see them improve the food. That might be a fat thing to say. It is what it is. But I want to see the food improve. Like, it's too much good food here in Chicago. You didn't have Lou's out there. You didn't have no Italian beefs out there, man. We had a heck of a combination beef at the game. They gave us one napkin. We might need to update the napkin policy out there because me and Haize were basically just like, we just got to wipe this on the Miami Heat fan in front of us. But nah, man, I think Bulls Fest is a great time. The 3-on-3 tournament was crazy last year.
You missed the slam dunk contest last year, right?
You got to sit through the dunk contest. Yeah, you said that was better than the NBA dunk contest.
Well, way better than. Well, I don't know about this past year because Mac did his thing, but it was better than the dunk contest.
Mac the plug did his thing. Yeah, man. I'm ready for it, man. I think that this is gonna be a good time, and I hope to see many of y'all out there, man.
Oh, wait, this was not on the official announcement. I had to go to the website. It looks like Sunday, August 20th, Horace Grant will actually be there as well. Bulls legend Horace Grant.
We just talked about him. Somebody had him listed as the 3rd best Bull all time.
Yeah. Which is wild.
I don't think it's wrong, though. That's the tough part. Horace got rings. And there's a good reason for him. Like, that's...
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But no, I hope to see y'all out there, man. Pull up on us, take pictures. We sign autographs. We sign trollops, all that, man.
We signed okay, it's time to go. Go ahead and pat.
You know what?
Now we signing trollops.
You don't want to say anything about Bulls Fest.
I mean, listen, what I say, you threw me off with the signing trollops. Bulls Fest, honestly, it's a great time. It's great energy out there. I won't lie. Like, yeah, the food needs. It was the first one last year. Let's hope that they do some refinement on some things. They're gonna have looks like a Legends picnic on Sunday as well at 11 a.m. with Brown, Purdue, and Horace Grant out there. So hey, that could be a nice picnic. I'm not going to no picnic, no. Shout out to Randy Brown for being on the panel.
Randy Brown.
Yeah. So y'all make sure y'all come out there, man. Just show up. More people that show up, the bigger they can continue to make it, the more they'll put into it. The art was there was great, right? I mean, you saw a lot of great art.
I'm actually saving up this year. I'm gonna buy a piece this year.
There you go. So, I mean, you got that ESPN money rolling in now.
Listen, hey, radio, dog. It's a little different on that side. Yeah, I mean, listen. They didn't make the cuts for me. I'll tell you that much.
Listen, I see your locked on check. You're doing pretty nicely there, brother.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not doing bad. I just said I'm not doing great. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to do great. Trying to be great out here, dog. Can I be great?
Out here calling me rich.
We don't want to put your money in the streets now. Let's not start that conversation.
I may not make it out of Chicago if you put my money in the streets.
Let's not start that conversation out here, my boy.
Go ahead and send us home, brother.
Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. You got to watch out for these rich mugs out here, bro.
I'm poor as hell. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEO Haize. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls and making us your first listen every day. Me and Pat can't stress enough as we make it through the offseason just how important it is, man, for your support. And like we've said before, if you're on the YouTube side, go and just leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. If you're on the podcast side, go in that subscribe button over on YouTube. It helps us grow. We appreciate all the support there. But for Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, and we out, y'all.
Peace. Haize, you out here going for the full lumberjack on the beard, ain't you, brother?
Oh, yeah.
What the heck is that?
I'm not shaving the beard until December.